What's good, guys? Welcome back to Small Talk on Head to Head Fantasy. And today we'll be talking about waiver wire 12-man pickups because, a lot of you guys been asking in our Discord. And if you guys don't know, we do have a Discord. The link will be in the description below. And of course, I'm being joined with my partner, Anson. What's up, my boy?
What's good, guys? We're going to be covering some of the guys they might still be in your free agent waivers. These are guys that they're projected to have a pretty good rest of the season, or they might give your team a temporary boost because certain players are out. They've been doing really good, and their roster percentage is relatively low. So there's a good chance that they might be available in your leagues.
Yep, let's get started with our first one. We got, of course, Reggie Jackson. And this could be a little short term, right? Just because there are news that Murray's supposed to come back near the end of this month, beginning of next month. So if you guys can get, maybe 2 or 3 good games out of Reggie, I think that's a very, very solid stream, right? If you can see, due to obviously Jokic being out, the numbers are a little inflated, but I think he's still a very, very solid stream here, right? Average 39 fantasy points per game the last 7 days. Um, only plays 20 something minutes, but obviously Murray being out and I think Aaron Gordon being out allowed Reggie Jackson to really thrive, and we can see what he can really do as like a primary point guard. Right, he does do a lot more than just try to score. He does a lot of playmaking, does a lot of defense as well. Temporarily, I think Reggie Jackson's a pretty good stream from here.
Yeah, I think he's a pretty good replacement for Jamal Murray. For now, like Alan said, the next couple games that Murray will be out, you should expect 35 to 40 fantasy points as what we've been seeing. He's gonna have off nights. He's a very high fantasy point per minute player. So as long as he's getting the minutes, which he's getting about 30 minutes per game because of Murray being out. But even after Murray comes back, he could potentially still be rostered in maybe deeper leagues, maybe 14, or if you guys are playing 16 team leagues. He's just really inserting himself into the lineup. He's proving um himself to the Nuggets that he still got it basically. So I'm pretty confident that if you guys play 14 team leagues, even with Murray back, he could still be rosterable. But as of right now, if you're in a 12-man league, he should definitely be on your roster.
Yep, let's move on from Reggie. All right, we got Mr. Big Al right here, Al Horford. And obviously, just looking really quick on why we're saying Al Horford could be a good stream. Porzingis is obviously injured, and we know Porzingis has injury issues and injury concerns. Last season, he had a great season. He wasn't injured at all, but this year we can still see those injury. He's still relatively injury prone, not as much as I would say after obviously a season of him playing a lot of games. But I think the Celtics are in a very good position, so I wouldn't be surprised if they help Porzingis out a little bit longer, allowing Al Horford to kind of get more games, get more minutes in, and give Porzingis some time to rest. So if Al Horford is a good stream, if he's still on your free agency and you're like, hey, I need somebody, grab him. Right, I think he's a very, very good stream. He might not be on your 12 on the free agency anymore because I think a lot of people are trying to grab Al Horford at the moment. So if you guys see Al Horford still being there and KP is still out, grab your chance, like just grab him. Someone might just use him for a day and throw him away and cycle him. But I think Al Horford could be a pretty good hold for a little bit.
Yeah, we're recording this video as games are going on, but today Al Horford did drop 59 fantasy points against the Bulls. We're seeing what he could do as a starting center when he's getting the minutes. When Porzingis was out initially, there were kind of speculations who's going to get more minutes. Will it be Al Horford? Will it be Luke Cornett? Maybe they wanted to save Al Horford because of his old age, kind of just preserve him for the playoffs, play Luke Cornett since we already have like a three-headed monster of Drew Holiday, Brown, and Tatum holding it down. But that doesn't seem to be the case. Al Horford, 32 minutes without Porzingis, and then 28 today. Luke Cornett only had 9 minutes in that first game without Porzingis. He only had 19 minutes. So it really seems like Boston is prioritizing winning right now and prioritizing playing Al Horford despite him just being the older player.
Yep, let's move on from Al Horford. We got Jaime from the Miami Heat. As of right now, Jimmy Butler is injured. Don't know when he's gonna come back, right? He didn't even participate in practice. So I think this is a very good sign for some good streams from the Heat. And right now he's just one of the players that we think that is a very good stream. I know he's only 13% rostered. Another person out there is Kyle Lowry. I think Kyle Lowry's getting picked up pretty quick. The issue with Kyle Lowry is he's a little wild, right? Either he gives you a very strong fantasy performance or he gives you like a single digit, right? But I think with Kyle Lowry being a starter and him getting minutes for sure, I think Jaime, Kyle Lowry, and some of the other Miami Heat like starters and people that we're going to talk about, there definitely should be on your free agency stream, right? So just because someone grabs Jaime doesn't mean like okay, I can't grab anyone else from Heat, because I think the Heat runs a pretty good ball game where almost everyone that's playing is going to do something. I think it just allows a lot of fantasy points to be distributed amongst a lot of the Miami Heat players, right? So with Butler out, with Hero out, Bam is like the only like main person that gets more bonuses, but also everyone else will get more like more minutes, more time, and obviously more fantasy points.
Yeah, Jaime's numbers overall in the season don't look that good. Obviously, because he is a rookie, so he's coming in beginning of the season he was getting less than 20 minutes per game. He's been playing a lot more minutes. The last four games, 31 minutes. It kind of bumped up his average to 25. So we're seeing that his average fantasy point for the entire season, 23.1. I don't think it's a good representation because it was kind of skewed by him just not having that chance to earn the minutes. But now we've really seen him with players getting hurt. We've really seen him earn the trust of Eric Spoelstra, and we know that if you're in the Miami Heat, you're maybe a rookie, a new player, unproven player. If you earn the trust of Eric Spoelstra, he will not be afraid of playing you, even if like you're basically a nobody. No disrespect to Jaime, but he is a rookie, hasn't proved himself yet. But we've seen Eric Spoelstra go to these players that kind of come out of nowhere and go ahead and play them 40 minutes. We've seen like Gabe Vincent last year, Max Strus last year, all these undrafted players. Duncan Robinson got a chance a couple years ago. So I wouldn't be surprised if Jaime Jaquez start playing maybe close to high 20s, low 30s in minutes for the rest of the season.
Yep, I agree with you. Let's move on from Jaime. We got the other Miami Heat player, Duncan Robinson, right? So I know a lot of people are dropping him just because he was injured for a little bit, but he's back healthy. He's playing now. Obviously, today it was very mediocre. So don't be like, oh man, he's not going to be as good as some of the other Miami players. I think Duncan Robinson is going to solidify himself as one of the best fantasy output as of right now, right? Besides obviously Bam, and because Bam's obviously a starter. But besides Bam, I think Duncan Robinson will be probably top three, top four for Miami to carry off the load from Hero being out, Butler being out, right? So if we just look at really Duncan Robinson, 70.7% rostered. So if he's still in your league and you need somebody, also make sure that you can fit him. I think he's a shooting guard, small forward, right, Ensign?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if he's a shooting guard, small forward, so make sure you guys can have that spot open for him, or just throw him in util if you have an open spot. All right. So don't just be drafting players. Make sure you check for positions too, because more times than not, it happens when you have like a 9-man roster and you grab somebody and you realize, okay, I can't fit them into my roster for some reason. Then you just wasted a waiver pickup. But yeah, Duncan Robinson's a very, very solid stream for you guys. So if you guys can try and grab him for some of your games, I think that'll be a very, very good streaming option.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are dropping Duncan Robinson. Yes, because of the injury, but a lot of people don't think he's worth holding on to because they think that the past 5 games is kind of like a fluke from Duncan Robinson, because Duncan Robinson's always been known to be a player that either gives you an amazing fantasy point if his shots go in, if he doesn't get the looks, if he's having a bad shooting night, he doesn't get a lot of other peripheral stats. So it's either 30, 40, or maybe like 10 fantasy points from him. We've kind of seen that trend, and a lot of people might be thinking, okay, maybe he just had a good stretch of 5 games where his shots are falling and he's getting the looks, but on average, he's not worth being rostered. I could definitely see the point there, but I feel like a lot of people are looking the fact that Duncan Robinson has really evolved as a basketball player. The first couple seasons with Miami, he was known as a spot up shooter. A lot of the entire league didn't really have a scouting report on him, and then we've seen him get benched because teams around the league started noticing Duncan Robinson, started counteracting his catch and shoot ability. So he was less effective, and obviously his defense isn't that good. So he started getting benched. but I feel like we've seen in the playoffs last year, and what I've seen so far with Duncan Robinson this season is that Duncan Robinson has really evolved his game to not only be a catch and shoot player, but he's also able to cut, throw defenders off by doing like little V cuts that they think that Duncan Robinson is going to cut into the basket. He runs back to the 3-point line. He's able to play make a little bit this year. So I think Duncan Robinson has evolved as a player where, I'm not saying that he'll average 35 fantasy points for the rest of the year, but what I've seen from Duncan Robinson, it is slightly more believable that he could average like 30 fantasy points, and he should be getting the minutes because Miami is so shorthanded and because Duncan Robinson has improved so much as a player.
Yep. Yeah. So still some of the other Heat players that we talked about, Kyle Lowry can get some minutes. I know Josh Richardson did really good tonight, but these are just the main people that we think are going to be more consistent in those guys. Right. Kyle Lowry, of course, could be rostered. If he's not already being rostered, you can grab him as well if Duncan Robinson's being grabbed. So yeah, let's move on from Duncan Robinson. Right. We got DeAndre Hunter. Right. If you guys don't know, Jalen Johnson, one of the starters, breakout stars of Atlanta, just got injured and looks like he's very, very injured because he's out for 36 weeks. And that's not even like with updates on how he's doing with his recovery. Right. It looked like he sprained it really bad when he came out, and I guess he slipped on like a little hole on the court. I'm not sure like what happened, but that was kind of what I saw from it. Yeah, DeAndre Hunter is probably gonna be one of the most benefiting one from this injury. Right. Some other players could be Sadiq Bey. If DeAndre Hunter is being taken, you grab Sadiq Bey, or some of the other stars. But as of right now, I think DeAndre Hunter and maybe Sadiq Bey. I would favor DeAndre Hunter a little bit more just because he is kind of proving himself now to be a top consistent fantasy output. And with Jalen Johnson now, I think it's going to be even better for DeAndre Hunter.
Yeah, he didn't really lose his minutes. We've seen that he struggled a lot in the beginning of the season. He was still getting 30 minutes. He was in our waiver pickups for last time, and he still remains here because last time it was 18.7% rostered. It only changed by 2%. So there's still a lot of people that haven't rostered him yet. The reason for that is because he really struggled. In the beginning of the season, he was shooting the ball terribly, 22% from three, 28% from the field. We know DeAndre Hunter last season shot 46% from the field, 35%. He's a league average 3-point shooter. So we've kind of seen him pick up his numbers back to his regular self. On top of that, like Alan mentioned, Jalen Johnson is out. So he's already getting 30 minutes per game. If anything, it can only go up from here. So he's playing better now. He should be we've seen the last 3 games, 37 minutes, right? So if he plays like his regular self, he definitely should be in any 12-man team.
Yep. Let's move on from DeAndre Hunter. And like I said already, if you don't have DeAndre Hunter, you can't grab him, and you need somebody you feel like take a gamble with. Sadiq Bey is also a good player that you can grab. But let's move on from DeAndre Hunter. We have Jaylen Ivy, right? And I like Jaylen Ivy a lot. I know 41% roster, you're like, he might not be available. The thing with Jaylen Ivy was a lot of people might have dropped him because I think there's like a week or two where they were starting Cade and Killian, and basically Killian Hayes. Cade Cunningham and Killian Hayes, they were starting them, and Killian Hayes was just sucking, man. I don't know. And I was like, bro, they should just keep Ivy. I don't know why they have Killian Hayes come like starting and then have Ivy off the bench when you can literally develop Cade and Ivy together. Like you can literally then look at, as of right now, you just look at his fantasy output, 35, 36 fantasy points a game, playing 32 minutes. And I expect this to be consistent throughout the rest of the season, unless, injuries happen or whatnot. But as of right now, he was coming off the bench, but he is now starting. So which makes him a starter. And if you guys can grab him, I think you guys should definitely try to grab Jaylen Ivy. And I know some of you guys are like, should I trade for him? Should I trade for him? It depends on what you're trading for, obviously. And if you guys have questions like that, go down to our Discord. We'll be more than happy to answer that. But yeah, as of right now, if Jaylen Ivy is in the free agency and you guys can stream him, try to grab him, right? Just drop somebody that usually comes off the bench or doesn't really play that much, play that well. You can grab him. Grab for Jaylen Ivy. I think that's gonna be a very, very good pickup.
Yeah, if you're just looking at a lot of the times when you look at waiver pickups, you're looking at buy low, sell high candidates. You kind of want to look at the narrative of the team. And with Detroit, what they've been doing for the beginning of the season, They brought in a new coach, right? They brought in Monty Williams, and they're just kind of experimenting. They're not really too focused on winning right now. They just want to experiment. And in the beginning, they tried the Jaylen Ivy off the bench experiment, kind of give Cade more usage. And they wanted to see if maybe, okay, Cade's out, Ivy takes over for their backup unit. Didn't work. They went on like a huge losing streak. I forgot. I think it was like a 12-game losing streak or something like that. So it didn't work. Ivy's minutes were limited because of that experiment. It looks like they're kind of off that experiment now. So Ivy has been getting 30 minutes per game, at least 30 minutes per game the last 3 games. And we've seen him put up 2 of his 3 highest scoring output of the entire season with those 30 minutes per game. It should only be trending up. We've seen his assists go up too. Just last game, 7 assists. I think that's his season high in assists. So if his minutes are gonna be 30 plus per game, I mean he's been a fantasy point per minute player, so I should expect 30 plus fantasy points if his minutes stay the same, which I think it probably will.
Yep. Let's move on from Jaylen Ivy. All right. We got Kelly Oubre. I know a lot of you guys are kind of surprised, like, whoa, I haven't heard Kelly Oubre around. But for some of you guys that have been paying attention, you guys would have known that, Kelly Oubre is starting to participate in shoot around, coming back to practice, which is a really, really good sign. And if you just look at him, he's averaging 29 fantasy points per game. And that is a must roster in 12-man league, right? So if you are able to grab him, people drop them, they're like, oh, he's injured, he got hit by a car, whatever, drop them. You guys can start looking, maybe grabbing him back this week, right? If he's able to return onto court. But I think Nick Nurse said they're gonna have him go through some conditioning before putting him into back into the game, but that should be probably a game or two, in my opinion. So I wouldn't be surprised if he came back near the end of this week or beginning of next week. So if you guys needed somebody and want somebody, I think you can grab Kelly Oubre. I think he's gonna be a very, very solid fantasy player for him this year, especially the Harden's out, and he was obviously thriving when in the beginning of the season before all this issue that happened. So I do think Kelly Oubre would be a very, very solid pickup for streaming or even a potential hold.
Yeah, and his numbers they're honestly higher than 29. I don't think 29 is an accurate representation. He kind of earned his minutes, earned his starting spot. It took him a few games to get there, but when he got there, he was putting up more than 29 fantasy points per game. Like Alan said, with Harden out, originally Kelly Oubre was kind of seen as a temporary stream or someone you could temporarily have on your roster until Harden is back, but they just traded Harden. They didn't replace Harden with really anyone that would take too much production from someone like Kelly Oubre. So Kelly Oubre, if he's back, he's definitely must roster. Just don't panic when he comes back and he starts off a little slow. He did get hit by a car. He is gonna start off slow. They're probably gonna limit his minutes a little bit, but I think it's a very good long-term investment. A lot of people were dropping Kelly Oubre, so his ownership went down to 45%. With this recent news, it seems like no one really knows because his rostered percentage only went up by 0.5 recently on the ESPN app, but he did participate in shootout yesterday. He was practicing today. He should be coming back in the next upcoming week. So if you have an IR spot, you think you're gonna win this week's matchup, or you don't mind maybe tanking this week's matchup, I think Kelly Oubre could be a pretty good ad.
Yep. And I think that should wrap up our waiver stream wires, right? And if you guys have any questions, you guys go drop it down below in the comments. Or if you want, a more like a better way to communicate with us, right? We're more active on Discord. So if you want to join our Discord, you guys could. Completely free. You guys don't know if you guys don't know. And yeah, we'll be more than happy to talk with you guys, chat with you guys. And we are also having some fantasy leagues there that we already started. So you guys will not be able to join, sadly, but we'll be more than happy to answer some of your questions about your own leagues, right? Who do you guys want to trade for? Some trades that you're looking at. You want to hear our opinions. We're more than happy to help you out. And there's obviously other like players, fantasy players in there that you can just ask and just talk about, right? Everyone has their own opinion. Please be respectful, of course. And yeah, that'll be the end of this video. Is there anything you want to add for them, Ensign?
Yeah, for sure. Join our Discord community. Also, go ahead and follow us on Instagram. We haven't posted yet, but we're definitely gonna start. We're gonna start getting that ready for you guys. Basically, we're just gonna put some pretty helpful infographic for you guys to look at. Maybe some of the players that we're talking about in our video. We just want to highlight him. It's gonna be. We're gonna try to make the content really interesting. We're gonna get that set up pretty shortly. So go ahead and follow us on Instagram.
And that's our video. We have some more video coming out for you guys. Just been a lot busy. I've been sick and I've been moving, but yeah, at the moment we got some video planned for you guys, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, we'll see you guys on our next video. Peace.
Peace.